Starting to the top left. It is for Team MVP.
MVP Dream.
This is not a dream, this is reality.
Starting to the bottom right, we have the Terran player's opponent, sent out by LGIM. It is
LGIM Yoda.
This guy is an all-killer. And he is going gas first. Gas first for him very early here. Seems to be a more normal opening for his opponent. Barracks here in the main base with no gas just yet. We'll be adding it fairly soon at 12. With that gas timing, just going to be a Reaper Scout. And that's really important because he's going to be able to see Yoda's gas first.
Terran versus Terran on this map, you can, as we have seen for Bomber and Innovation, go down different paths. Bio and Mech are both viable here. Bomber was actually able to make his composition work very well against Innovation. That was a crazy series. Bomber just on top of the world in Terran versus Terran right now. And if you look at these two players here, we have a really decent record as well for the LGM player, for Yoda, who actually has a 67% record against Terran. 8 maps won, 4 maps lost. And for his opponent, we have a little bit of a different scenario. Dream, not the best mirror match player these days. Only 20% win ratio, 5 maps played. He lost to MVP, he lost to Jakji, and he lost to Gomeo.
Yeah. Yoda drops the factory, scouted not by the Reaper, but in fact by this SCV. And what the Reaper will be able to see is what add-on is made here on the factory. He will also be able to see if a second gas is taken. He's going to get all the information about what sort of factory tech comes out here, because the starport may or may not be locked right away. And there goes the Reaper out. It looks like we're just going to see an expansion follow-up as the reactor goes down here from Dream.
Yeah, and one of them is actually going into this, well, we don't have a second gas just yet, so it doesn't really look like we're going to see anything with a Banshee commitment and Cloak. And this is something that he can really do. We've seen it more and more since the patch came out. And the SCV taken out, but the Reaper at least gets into the main base here.
Yeah.
And
sees the second gas?
Yeah. Takes the second gas a little bit later than I expected, but there it is. And the starport as well, so it looks like we're going to see those Banshees after all. Question, of course, now being with the Reaper Scout, is he really going to commit to Cloak?
I think he will not commit to Cloak, but still make the Banshees. That's what I would guess.
Well, he has to. Like, if you actually sacrifice so much economy, you have to do something. You have to do some damage and at least pressure your opponent. I'll be very surprised to not see him at least get a Banshee out there. Cloak is a different story.
Yeah.
But I actually think that right now, with the reduced Cloak costs, you should still get it. If you get a few scans out there, that's already alright.
He's the thing is, I guess he's concerned about whether or not he'll force scans because of the turrets.
He goes for a Widowmine drop instead.
Yeah, Widowmine drop instead, but gets Cloak delayed. He's going to fake it because he knows there's a likelihood of a scan coming down at any second now. I would like to see him move that Widowmine a little bit further away too, because that same scan may show the Widowmine.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually there's a scan around 5:40 to 6 minutes to verify that the tech is not a trick.
Banshee has been started and Cloak has been cancelled, so he's going for the drop first, and let's see how well Dream is able to react to this.
Restarts Cloak too.
Restarts Cloak as well, he might just go for it. You know, this could actually be like a great fake out here by Yoda. If Dream sees the Widowmine coming in, is he really going to commit to his anti-air defense? We're going to find out. The engineering bay at least is being built and he gets the Viking.
Yeah, and he's going to want those scans for also the Widowmine. Widowmine can do a lot of damage if it's not able to be scouted, and your turret's probably not going to find that. Here we go. Drops the Widowmine on the ramp. This is really cool because that's going to really zone out the units against the Banshee.
Yeah, and also the Marines just can't get into the main base now. He
Stops
can just
the
elevate it.
Wow, this is so smart. And those units, if they don't come out of the bunker, then they can't fight this. And if they come out of the bunker, then they're not gonna have a chance against the mid-back. The Viking, though.
Did he see the Widowmine?
I don't think so.
I'm not 100% sure. I actually thought those Marines were in range, but he might just not have seen them. So that is going to play a huge role later on. The Widowmine is still there, still no cooldown. He sends an SCV in now, though.
Could have unburrowed it intentionally. Yeah, he definitely saw it.
He saw. He waits with the Hellions before he moves down. And now the Marines, they line up very well here, but the Banshee is here.
Banshee is here, and Cloak is almost done, and there's no turret down here. He doesn't have a scan just yet. He's about to. A Raven is on the way, so he realizes the possibility for a cloak is definitely there.
The Viking was nearly taken out, has to be very careful here. Takes down once again, there comes a scan. That scan is not going to do anything at all.
Nope, and he gets away. The Widowmine is still alive. The Raven is really, really important here because it will reveal the Banshee, but so much damage being done here, so much lost mine time, which is really, really critical because Yoda's command center is so late.
And he's losing even more SCVs now at the natural, has to cancel the missile turret too. So this is really cool by Yoda. He takes a huge supply lead here. There has to be another scan.
Where's
Obviously waiting for the Raven. There it is.
There it is. He loses the Banshee, but a second one is on its way.
Second Banshee on the way into the main base, indeed. And currently we have this expansion at the bottom right done. Yoda has his own expansion set up. He needs to saturate it and fly it down to the mineral line, of course. But still.
He has about a 10 supply lead. The worker count is
very even.
It's in his favor, but that's going to change in just a second with double SCV
workers were killed by Yoda. And this is the one risk that you run. If you don't do damage and you go for a tech build against an early command center, and you fall behind. But in this case, Yoda has done a significant amount of damage, has baited out several scans. Exactly what he needed to do here.
This push that's coming out for Yoda is what's going to turn Dream into a nightmare because he does not have enough defense, not even close to defend this. A lot of his army supply is in a Raven and a Viking, neither of which are very useful. He also still has to deal with his opponent's cloak. This drop, if it's not scouted, could do a little bit, but it's not as threatening as this big push that's coming across, and he's so distracted by the Banshee.
He doesn't expect it at all. As he said, he's completely distracted. He sees the bunker, but that's the only thing. He will see those siege tanks in just a second, and I don't think that he has what it takes to take this down. The drop is on the way to the bottom right, at the right side of the map, but is that drop really going to hit in time?
I don't think so, but you know, it could do a lot. There are two Widow Mines in there. The thing is, Widow Mines are not actually useful at killing bases. They can annoy you and kill some of your harvesters, but they're not going to win a game for you.
And he's going to have a siege tank in just a few seconds, and the siege tank will be able to take those Hellions down. Here comes the drop. How does he react? Pulls the SCVs immediately. Needs to rally his reinforcements in.
Yep. The reared CC is also there. The Widow Mine not doing too much damage just yet. The siege tank comes back. As you mentioned, the Widow Mine defense here decent. Does not hit the Banshee here.
Yeah, and there we go. Once again, the drop this time at the natural. That's the siege tank. Good hit with the Widow Mine. And decent position here still for Yoda. 19 harvesters killed by Yoda so far.
He still has control of his opponent's natural. And the scan will eliminate one Widow Mine. And he just has so much production here, and he has two mining bases with a third CC.
He can drop a second scan without a problem whatsoever at the natural and take down Widow Mine number 2, and he still has that great contain to the top left. There's no way for Dream to mine from this base, 2 bunkers and the siege tanks. That is not going to be easy to break through.
Targets SCVs, not get a whole lot. He has enough for energy for a scan now, but looks like he's going to wait considering that the Widow Mine is on cooldown.
Every second counts here. So much mining for Yoda.
He's going to land this CC, but he's going to land it and regret it, as there are so many units there to block him. Drop is now cleared up, and Yoda in an insanely good position right now.
This is just crazy good. He forces that CC off the mineral line once again. The siege tank in the main base tries to finally put an end to that Hellion. Here comes that army for Dream. He's moving in with the siege tanks. Will maybe even force Yoda to lift, but no, there's the scan. Takes down siege tank number 1.
This is just not a good position for him. He should use the Secret Missile on the Raven. I would love to see that. You know, pick off that siege tank for free.
Yeah, it takes down one of those tanks at least, but still the contain holds. And this is just extra mining time for Yoda from 2 mineral lines.
With 3 CCs as well, so he has the third mule, he has the extra income. Auto turrets going down here. It's not cost efficient for him to do this, but he doesn't have much of a choice at this point.
He's trying to break that contain, but at what cost, Wolf? He's losing so much. He's losing those Vikings already. He breaks the contain, but is it too late? Still a 20 supply deficit, and just look at that production for Yoda. It is income and it is tech. He is in just such a fantastic spot in this game.
He has combat shields, he has cloaks still, he has +1 on the way, and stim. His opponent going into what looks like a mech composition, but it's the weakest mech composition I've ever seen. He started it on one base because he was stuck at his natural. He has a bunch of Hellbats that aren't really useful because he doesn't have the early advantage he needs. He's likely not going to be able to take a third base for a long time because Yoda, once he realizes the third is attempted to be taken, he's just going to come in and punish it. Look, he even has a bunker and turrets up at home.
Everything. Siege tanks as well. Wherever you drop, it's the wrong spot, and he sees it as he tries to fly in with the medevac. Third base is going to be taken soon. Still the 20 supply lead. Scanning the main base of his opponent to the top left. Realizes that there are already 2 factories, if I'm not mistaken. Don't think there's a third. Command center also going up, but still. A lot of mules being called down at that natural, but still we have that lead for Yoda, and he is trying to make that happen, run with that advantage that he has.
Yeah, and run with it he is so far.
Problem for him, of course, is later on going to be that if he commits really heavily to bio, if those medivacs, if they move in and drop Hellbats on top of that army and he gets the blue flame upgrade, then he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. But these are a lot of ifs.
Yeah, a lot of ifs indeed. Right now the Viking count, since he had to use those Vikings to break the cane, is only 2-1 in favor of Dream, so he's not going to be able to control the air like he wants to. There's the Infernal Preigniter. This situation right now for Dream is a dire one, but he still has a chance here. He's getting his upgrades out. He's building a composition that is arguably stronger, especially with Hellbats.
He's in a very iffy spot here. He's still a little bit down in the Harvester count, but more important, of course, is that we already have such a huge army of Yoda. Here comes the move into the main base, but, well, what can I say? Yoda is ready.
Yep, totally ready here. And here as well.
Yeah, well...
Not as ready here.
Those Hellions getting a few hits. That bunker is not meant just yet, but still.
Evens the worker count at 54-54 now, and Yoda, he has his third base up a little bit faster, but with the Maynard going over to the 30, he could definitely catch up in economy at the very least.
And you know, with 20 additional army supply, if Yoda commits here and moves in, then it's going to be a very difficult position for Dream, because he has to defend 3 bases, and his army will be spread out very, very thin by this. And with those medivacs, he could actually just also elevate a few of those units into the main base. If he draws out Dream now and makes him defend 2 or 3 positions, I feel that Yoda just has too much for Dream to handle.
I think we're going to see Yoda try to control the natural at the top of that ramp where he has access to the third base and the natural.
That's the attempt of dropping Hellbats on top of the bio army. Already lifted all of them into the medivacs.
I just don't think he has enough. There's way too much for Yoda here, and
there comes the drop. I just talked about it, going into the main base.
There's so many turrets here. If he actually walks into the turrets and loses a lot of his army, this could be exactly what Dream needs.
But I think he has the firepower, you know. He takes down a tank immediately, and now he has the position. He's sieging up, he controls it, but here comes the counter drop.
There's not a lot of units here, and the Hellbat's doing some serious damage. Meanwhile, in between the third and the natural,
a second force is moving in as we speak, and we have 140 supply against 100, and Dream is losing a lot of his army. The Hellbats are already gone, and the siege tank is also just dead. The rest of the army moving towards that third, while the main base is being taken out.
The third base is forced to lift here. He needs to go for those harvesters. He needs to get as many SPs as possible to make it worth this trade. He's losing 2 more siege tanks here to the Hellbat drops, but that means his Bioforce is killing the SCVs. And remember, during all of this, Yoda is still on 3 perfectly mining bases.
Those SCVs are all gonna die, if not for the units that we just saw coming in, saving the day, but so many of the harvesters already gone. We have currently 57 against 51, and still Dream is moving in with another force, taking out that siege tank and making his way up into the natural.
Just getting these Hellbat siege tank makes a composition that has to be all together, and this is not what Yoda is having. He's splitting up his opponent's units left and right, gonna get this reactor, maybe even a tech lab, just killing SCVs, killing whatever he wants.
He's going for those Hellbats, taking 2 of them down, taking a couple of SCVs with him, and a 30 supply lead at this point for Yoda. Dream is in trouble, and we still have 3 mining bases for Yoda, still in a good spot here, getting his additional upgrades out there, and just trying to run with that momentum, with that speed that he has right now, snowballing his opponent.
Yeah. Medevac sneaks around the left side, and Dream just trying to find an opening, but Yoda with such a solid defense. He's adding now the additional production facilities upgrades. He's at 2-1.
Dream still has the same, he has 3 bases and he has the same harvester count, but he is scanned and he is down in supply. So he is not dead just yet, but the position for Yoda is such an incredible good one that if he makes no mistakes, he should win this game easily.
Yeah, turret and the bunker here, making quick work of that.
Not sure why exactly he did that, because he tried that before at exactly this spot, and the result was exactly the same.
Yeah,
he probably thought that the bio units wouldn't be in the bunker anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's what he was thinking. The problem with the composition for Dream is that it needs to be an army that's all together and a strong army that's never fragmented, never an army that's less than 150 supply, but he just doesn't have that. So he's getting torn apart left and right.
Yoda is using the force and moving in, taking down the reinforcements. The Hellbats are already dead, and the rest of the army to the right side is being dropped by those Hellbats of Dream once again. The siege tanks are down, but we have the marauders now running in, and that third base is in a lot of trouble.
Third base in a lot of trouble. The SCV is coming off. He has to kite against them, but he's doing so much damage. Drop here on top of the Bioforce, but it's not enough. The siege tanks are falling, and Dream looks like he's falling as well. Yoda with a Mana Mule starts to take out the last of the Hellbats. He's going to get the siege tank as well.
The siege tank already down, and those Hellbats, they are trying to run away, get the hell out of there, but that is not going to work. Another siege tank being sieged up, but here comes Yoda. Yoda with another Mana Mule. Get out of my game. The SCV's trying to fight back, but it is too late.
GG! What a great game by Yoda. Taking early advantages with his pressure, putting up a nice contain. And Yoda, the Terran versus Terran player they needed, he's an all-killer, and he's going to force now another player.
The score in favor of LGIM again, 3-2. That's the series that we were hoping for coming into the studio today, and LGIM and MVP, they deliver.
They really are delivering. And I wonder who the MVP coach wants to send out here.
I certainly hope that he doesn't send out a Zerg player.
I hope not DRG especially. I want to see Tails. I want to see Duck. I want to see Finale. I want to see a Protoss here.
You know, Yoda has a decent record against Protoss. He has a 63% win ratio on Heart of the Swarm. If they send out a Zerg, it's just going to be so tricky. Yes, he failed in the Challenger League, Yoda that is, but this crazy all kill that he had against Axiom Mesa, I don't really think that you, against the Zubu, don't really think that you want to send out a Zerg here. I feel with the Protoss is the better choice.
Yeah, I think it's time to send out somebody like Tails. Where is the sniper? Because they know that there's probably a chance I see either Yoda or MVP. They've got to have a sniper for Terran.
I would like to see Super.
Would be good as well.
Even more than Tails, because they need more wins, and I feel that Super is just a better player. He already performed all kills this season. I think if he practiced for this, he could be the one that they need now.
Could definitely see him.
They have 2 players left.
For me, I was thinking, Super's one of those players they want to use later, but then I'm realizing now at this moment in time that we only have 2 players left. So, actually, Super, I would rather see Super than see Tails. I correct myself even. I think that a Protoss is what they need right now, though. I don't want to see another Terran, and I definitely don't want to see a Zerg, especially not DRG.
Well, they already had a plan. They were talking about this earlier. They were looking at the scores and the players, and who is it going to be?
Oh, no.
DRG! It is a Zerg against Yoda!
Oh, wow. Calder, they're really pulling out the final boss here, and he really has to prove himself today. This could be exactly what DRG needs for his career, for his mental fortitude, whatever you want to call it, because he is in a slump right now, and he has been called out. I really did not think we were going to see him at all today. Definitely a top-notch Zerg player. Even though he's in a slump, you can never count out DRG. He just has to make sure his nerves are also in check, because we've seen him time and time again in the GSTL get nervous, get worried, and just have total throws in his games.
Guys, we have another quick break, and then we'll be back. We will be back with DRG up against Yoda at the GSTL Finals 2013 here at GOMTV.
Yeah.